name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be a very late December wrap up. And I spent a lot of December just trying to reach my reading goal for 2025 because I was very behind on that at the time. But I did meet it thanks to a lot of manga, as you will soon enough hear, but also a couple of other things as well. I will have the content warnings I can find linked down below in the description along with links to some resources, and let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with volumes 1 through 7 of Medalist by Suru Maikata. And this follows our main character Inori, who has always dreamed of becoming a figure skater. However, she is already what the skating world often considers to be too old. She's always had trouble in school and her mother is fully against it, but despite all of this, the skating rink is really the only place where she feels like she can be herself. And she ends up meeting Tsukasa, who is struggling with his own skating career path, and they form a coach and student team who have an unshakable belief that they can prove everyone wrong. So Medalist was one of my favorite anime that I watched last year, and that brought me to their manga. And it's just as sweet and as wholesome and fun as their anime. I really love their comedy. I think they're cute and silly. They make me smile. I really love the relationship between Tsukasa and Inori specifically because it feels very healing to me personally, and again, just wholesome. I love the support that's there. I also really love the figure skating. I think the art's really pretty. It's just one of my favorite series for sure. It really means a lot to me personally, so I really just loved all 7 of these volumes so much. Next up is Demon in the Wood, a Shadow and Bone graphic novel by Lee Bardugo and Danny Pendergast. This is a prequel to Shadow and Bone, and it follows a boy and his mother who have spent their entire lives on the run, with no safe haven in sight, as Grisha are feared by those who wish to destroy and exploit them, and these two are the deadliest and rarest form of Grisha. This kind of got me back into this universe, or at least made me feel some intense nostalgia for it, and it was just a good reminder that I do really love this series, even if this graphic novel specifically I didn't really super love at the end of the day. Like, I thought it was fine. I did really like the art style, but otherwise it was solid. It did kind of make me want to reread the Grishaverse, and that's pretty much that. I ended up giving this 3.75 out of 5 stars. Next up are volumes 4 through 6 of Having an Idol-Loving Boyfriend is the Best by Mito Oi, and this follows Akari and her coworker Anda, who are both hardcore idol fans. And they have formed a close friendship over these shared interests and activities. However, one day, Anda randomly confesses his feelings to her. And while surprised, she does like the idea of dating somebody who shares her interests, but she's unsure of how to navigate this new version of their relationship. So my review of this series kind of just hasn't changed since the first time that I talked about them with volumes 1 through 3. And that's that I don't really think this is a series that is necessarily going to blow you away with anything that it does, but I still think that it is a really cute series. Like, it's lighthearted and a good time, and I really like the romance and just how they support one another in their fandom. I also just liked how this series focused on and explored idols and fandom in general, and I am going to give this series as a whole 4 out of 5 stars. Next up is Things You May Find Hidden in My Ear, Poems from Gaza by Musab Abu Toha. This is a poetry debut from this author as he writes about his life and experiences in Gaza as a child and then also as a father, as he grew up under constant lockdown and often direct attack. This was the only poetry collection that I read in 2024, which does make me a little bit sad, but if there's only going to be one, it might as well be incredible, because I did really think this was incredible and also really heartbreaking. Like, I highlighted a lot of lines and also just like whole poems, because there were so many times where I just had to like put my e-reader down and just let what I had just read wash over me. And yeah, I don't tend to read nonfiction, and that does include poetry, but again, this was incredible. Next up is Model Home by River Solomon. This follows 3 siblings from a family that when they moved into the neighborhood, they were the only black family. The neighbors acted nice enough, but scary, strange, and unexplainable things began happening right away inside of their house. But they refused to abandon their home, and now as adults, these 3 siblings have all left, leaving their parents alone in the house. However, when news of their parents' death arrived, they reunite to reckon with their past and their present to try to find out what happened while they were away, as their parents did not die natural deaths. This book was always one of my 5-star predictions, and yeah, that is what I ended up giving it. I was correct. This is another one that was definitely really heartbreaking. It has a lot of really dark topics and things that happen to the characters. It is far from an easy read at times for sure in that sense. The writing style itself also really stood out to me. It felt really refreshing and interesting while allowing you to explore the main character. I also feel like it really added to the overall atmosphere and tone of the book as well. And again, I did a lot of annotating here because there were just so many lines that really stood out and impacted me. This book also incorporated one of my favorite things to read about in the haunted house, and as promised, just fully turned it on its head, and did so in a way that I really appreciated. I also really appreciated how this book blended like the more fantasy horror aspect with very real life horror. And yeah, I gave Model Home 5 out of 5 stars. Next Next up is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and this takes place in a cafe located in a back alley in Tokyo that's been serving coffee to its customers for over 100 years. However, this cafe also offers a different service, and that is to travel back in time. And we follow 4 different stories and characters who want to make use of this, but time traveling does not come without its risks. This has been on my TBR for years, and it was okay. I liked the characters, the overall structure, and a handful of the stories that were in here, and it did mostly beat my reading slump, which was a very powerful force at the time, so that was nice, but it was also just really repetitive, which I did end up thinking was more annoying than charming at the end of the day. It also did feel really slow to me at points, and even though I did like the main cast of characters, I didn't really feel like we got to know some of the side characters enough, which made me not connect to some of the storylines as strongly as I could have. I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on with this series, honestly, but it's also like not a no either. We'll see. Next up is All This Twisted Glory by Tahereh Mafi, which is the 3rd book in the This Woven Kingdom series. And This Woven Kingdom follows our main character, who is the long-lost heir to an ancient Jin kingdom, but the rest of the world only sees her as a disposable servant, as she is forced to hide who she truly is. And then this follows our other main character, who is the Crown Prince, and he has always heard prophecies foretelling the death of the king. However, he never expected it to be the servant girl who he can't stop thinking about, who would uproot his kingdom and the entire world. This review feels weird to me now because I have listened to the 4th book in this series, which we'll talk about that in January, because I've kind of had it with this series, honestly, but I can say that book 3 in particular is probably my favorite book in this series right now. I was really enjoying the characters, even if I was still annoyed with a couple of them, and I was having fun with the storyline itself. It felt like things that were building up throughout like the entire series were finally starting to come together. I wasn't as invested in the romance as I really wanted to be, but I did still leave this book feeling invested as a whole, which is not really something that I can say anymore after listening to book 4, but again, we'll talk about that more in January. But I ended up giving All This Twisted Glory 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have Son of Elsewhere, a memoir in pieces by Elamine Abdelmahmoud, and this is a memoir and collection of essays that have a focus on blackness, faith, pop culture, and just trying to find your way in the world, from the author who emigrated with his family at the age of 12 from Sudan to Kingston, Ontario. And yeah, this was an interesting listen. The author does read it himself. I thought he was an engaging storyteller, so I had a good time with that aspect of things, and the essays themselves were very much his own life experiences and perspectives. Again, I don't rate nonfiction, but I am glad that I listened to this. Next up is If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha, and this follows 4 young women who are living in Seoul, Korea, and just trying to find their way in the world that is defined by impossible beauty standards, after-hours room salons, social hierarchies, and fandom surrounding K-pop. I got so invested in this book and in these women, like I feel so attached to them. It's extremely slice of life to the point where it felt so weird and wrong to not be following them anymore after it was over. The ending was also pretty open-ended, which probably didn't help with that feeling, which I did at the time had to think about how I felt about the ending, because it does feel like there should be more and like the story just keeps going without you. But it also just does feel very fitting for this book at the same time, because this was so slice of life. And this was just all so interesting. I couldn't stop listening to it, and I gave it 5 stars. Next up is My Ultramarine Sky by Nagisa Furuya, and this follows Kai and Ren, who have always been in the same class as one another. But when they get assigned to different classes in their final year of high school, Kai can feel his relationship with Ren slipping away and has to confront his feelings. This was fine. I do kind of wish it was longer so that we could have gotten to know the characters and just the relationship more, because I do feel like a large part of this story is the angst, and I just didn't really feel it in the way that I could have if this just had more time to develop things more. But for what it was cute, I liked it, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next up is Volume 1 of Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui, and this follows our main character and his party after they were defeated by a dragon that they ran into deep inside of the dungeon. This is a battle that leaves them without money, supplies, and a team member, who many of them are very much determined to get back and save, but they have no money and they have no food, which leads our main character to come up with the idea to eat the monsters that they will face along their journey. I really love their anime, and I feel like based on this volume, there is a chance that I might actually like the manga more. Something about this just really solidified things for me, and I just got really lost in it. I really loved the characters, the comedy was super fun, and I just like their aesthetic and the adventure of it all, and I'm really excited to eventually read more of this. Next up, we have Volume 1 of Kaiju number 8 Relax by Kizuku Watanabe, and this is a spin-off of Kaiju number 8 that follows the members of the Japan Defense Force on their days days off from fighting kaiju. Kaiju number 8 is one of my favorite series, like both the manga and the anime, and based on that, I am honestly kind of shocked at how much I did not like a lot of this, which is so unfortunate because I was really excited about the spin-off when it got announced, but a lot of the comedy just didn't really land for me. It reads like a crack fanfic, and that is the best way that I can describe it, and like, those can be fun. And I did have fun with a few of these stories. Iharu in particular really carried for me in this volume. But yeah, I didn't love this. I hope I like any other volumes that may come from this series after this more, because it's still Kaiju number 8, and at the end of the day, I'm happy they're getting anything at all, and this did give me more of it. Next up is volume 9 of Whisper Me a Love Song by Eku Takeshima. And this follows our main character Himari, who falls in love with her upperclassman after hearing her band perform on the first day of school. She confesses, and then this upperclassman confesses her love back, and then Himari realizes that they are feeling two different kinds of love and begins to wonder what love really means. This volume was a perfect reminder of why I love this series so much, and it also ended what has been my favorite arc of this series so far. The art style is so beautiful. I love the characters and the interpersonal drama and the relationships, and also just the individual character growth and exploration as well. The main romance is adorable, but the others are really exciting too, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of them, and I'm just excited to see what this series does in the future in general. Next up are volumes 2, 3, and 4 of Lycoris Recoil by Yasunori Bizen and Spider Lily. And this takes place in Japan, which is a nation that the government very much wants the average citizen to believe is free of vicious crime and terror. And to accomplish this, they use a secret task force comprised of schoolgirls who are agents known as Lycoris. And Lycoris Recoil follows two of these girls, Chisato and Takina. The manga is basically one-to-one with the anime, and I love the anime, so I really have no complaints here. The action scenes look really clean, and they're just as fun to read for me as they are to watch. I also just really love and adore Chisato and Takina, and a few of my favorite moments between them are within these volumes, and it's just been really fun to revisit this series in this format all around. Next up, we have volume 11 of Skip and Loafer by Misaki Takamasu. And Skip and Loafer follows our main character who comes from a small country town but is chasing her dreams in a large Tokyo high school, where she finds out that the social norms of city high schoolers may be more out of her element than she originally thought. This volume had me so stressed, but I also love it so much. If you don't know, this is my favorite manga and favorite anime series of all time, and this volume had just like a mix of everything that I love about this series. The friendships are so sweet, they had some really good moments in here. The comedy, as always, was charming and funny, and it's exploring the characters and the relationships in a way that I really love and appreciate. And this had what felt like a very important conversation for this series as a whole towards the end of it, and again, it had me so stressed, but it's out of love, and I do love this so much. Next up are volumes 4 through 6 of Komi Can't Communicate by Tomohito Oda. And this follows Komi, who has extreme social anxiety and wants to make 100 friends. And then this also follows her wallflower classmate who makes it his mission to help her accomplish that. So prior to Skip and Loafer, if you had asked me what my favorite anime was, I would have said this. And these volumes had so many good moments. I was smiling so much. I really like a lot of their comedy. Not all of it, but a lot. They're not perfect, and I also hate when they try to do fan service in particular, but they have so many fun, lovable characters and just like a lot of heart, and there were just a lot of moments that really meant a lot to me personally, and I had a mostly amazing time with these volumes. And finally, we have The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Kah. And this follows a mermaid who is on the run, joined by a mysterious plague doctor as they stumble upon a village of children who do not age and thirst for blood, along with the 3 saints that control them. I listened to this because I needed something short to help me reach my reading goal, and I think I liked the vibes of this more than anything. Like, I love the tone and the atmosphere, but I did unfortunately struggle to get into the other aspects of this story, and I do really wish I got into this more because it is such a cool concept. And again, I did really love the atmosphere, so I may try to reread this again at another date, maybe in the fall, to see if anything changes. But until then, I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then we have all of the other manga chapters that I read in December, and these are all from series that I am caught up to and reading as they update over on the Shonen Jump and K-Manga apps. And from Shonen Jump, we have chapters 222 to 224 of Blue Box, chapters 186 to 188 of Akane Banashi, chapters 104 to 106 of Kagurabachi, and chapters 62 to 64 of Ichi the Witch. And then over on K-Manga, which I am only as caught up to as I can be without using points to unlock the chapters, because I am saving all of my points for medalists. But over on K-Manga, I read chapter 30 of Galaxias, chapters 199 to 202 of Windbreaker, chapters 154 to 156 of Gachiakuda, and chapters 171 to 173 of The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. And normally at this point I would pick a favorite from the series that I just listed off, but it's been like a month and honestly I don't really remember who that would have been, but I want to say that I do think that it was Akane Banashi since I am really into them and just like everything that they're doing right now. And I also ranked them really highly in my ranking all the manga that I read in 2025 video, and I suspect that one of the reasons why I did that is because they had a really good set of chapters right around the time that I was making that video. But yeah, that is all for December. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye.